staffer to Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, and he joins us tonight. There you have it, Chris. I wanted to talk to Carter Paige, not because we're personal friends or I have any vested interest in his story or his life, but because I'm an American, and I think the civil liberties of every American matter. Here you have a guy who clearly didn't commit a crime, whose life has been completely destroyed by the FBI and the Obama administration. You can't look at that and not, as an American, feel outraged. And yet the left is totally fine with what's happened to Carter Paige. Why is that, do you think?
Well, I don't think anybody's fine with civil liberties being violated. And I don't know that his actually have. I mean, the man did take the fifth for a lot of questions when he went to that closed door session with Congress.
Oh, is that a constitutional right? Wait, hold on. Wait a second. So if you take the fifth, you don't have civil liberties? What are you taking the fifth is a civil liberty?
No.
What law school did you go to?
Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I went to St. John's, and I'm proud of that. But let me just also say that the President of the United States once said, if they take the fifth, it means they're guilty.
I don't care what Trump said. I'm an American citizen, and you have a right not to testify under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And by the way, you have a right not to be spied upon for political reasons. And my question is, why was Carter Paige the subject of a FISA warrant after the FBI had already looked exhaustively into his interactions with the Russians? They clearly abused his civil liberties, and nobody cares because he volunteered for Donald Trump. That is police state stuff, and civil libertarians of all stripes ought to be upset about it.
Remember, the man started by providing documents to a Russian spy in 2014. That's
what were those
how
documents?
They start to recruit you. Hold on.
You just accused him of. Oh, you don't know what they are.
It is widely known, and he will admit that he gave documents to a Russian spy.
Well, what documents? Was it a pizza menu, or was it the blueprints to a thermonuclear warhead? I mean,
this is how they start to recruit you. They ask you to provide them with something which is legal, and they show that you will actually do it. This was a Russian spy attempting to recruit him. That Russian spy was later indicted and convicted, and this came up in that.
Did the Russian spy shows
up on a presidential campaign? The FBI was right to start looking into it.
But wait,
they were absolutely right.
They were. So they already knew that the documents that you attempted to make sound so sinister amounted to nothing, that Carter Paige was not, in fact, spying for the Russian government, that he was not a mole. They knew that. They knew that, and yet they got a FISA warrant against him already. Don't you think that the U.S. government, before it spies on its own citizens, ought to have a good reason, and that reason shouldn't be made up by a political activist like Peter Strzok or his girlfriend, Lisa Page?
So the fact that he'd been communicating with senior Russian officials, including members of their spy rings in Russia, and then he goes to Russia with the permission of Corey Lewandowski. He goes to Russia in 2016 during the campaign. I think the FBI would be suspicious, and I think that they should have been suspicious. And they should look into it.
Since you've raised this allegation, we have actually Carter Paige in the studio. I want to ask him what these documents were. And I mean, let's get very specific here. You passed documents to a Russian spy. Did you betray your country? What were the documents? And why aren't you in prison right now if that was a felony?
Tucker, this is complete spin. I was teaching a course at New York University called Energy in the World in the spring semester of 2013. And I had a coffee with a diplomat from the Russian consulate. And I showed him. Who was a spy? I showed him a couple of the course materials from my academic course.
You gave him documents that he requested.
But wait, hold on, wait, Chris, before you impugn, slow down. Before you impugn his patriotism as an American, shouldn't you hear what the documents were? Wouldn't that inform your judgment?
Public information, yes.
The documents, that was a course description. Do you think if you passed, Chris Hahn, a course description for a public university course to a foreigner who you didn't know was a spy, would you be betraying your country if you did that?
I tend not to hang out with Russian spies because I'm trying to get a gas deal with their nationally owned gas syndicate.
So do you think that there is something unpatriotic?
So you think there's some tend to love this country.
So you're saying that Carter Paige doesn't love his country. Carter Paige, where'd you go to college, by the way?
Look,
U.S. Naval Academy.
Oh, you went to the U.S. Naval Academy. So you're accusing him, Chris, of being unpatriotic. This man graduated from Annapolis and was a naval officer, but he's unpatriotic. He doesn't love his country. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what's in his heart. I have read the files on you, Carter, and I hope that you are a good person, and I hope that if you are a good person, all of this goes away from you. But from what I read, it is something that I would be concerned about if I was the FBI and you were on a presidential campaign. I would be worried that the Russians would be infiltrating that campaign. And I think you yourself,
really quick,
Carter Paige, as an expert in this, would agree with that.
Do you love your country, Carter Paige?
I love my country, and actually all of my actions directly speak to that. And I think, you know, President Trump and his initiatives in terms of building a better structure for, you know, international relations, particularly U.S.-Russia relations, I think is going to show great love for the country.
Yeah.
And actually,
I love my country. I'm embarrassed to live here right now. This is a shameful moment in our country's history that we would do this to one of our citizens.
A great code word in the in that document from John Solomon today. They use the term, there's a new code word, dragon, right? And that reminded me of Dragon Energy, you know, that Kanye West was talking about. We're both Dragon Energy. President Trump's my brother. I love everyone. It's this very positive approach, trying to create a better world for all American citizens and, you know, better peaceful situation in the world versus, you know, I think what we heard from Mr. Hahn of just tearing people down, you know. And I think the funny part about it is going back to the dodgy dossier, they were pulling these same you know, falsehoods for.
You know, I don't really know about the dragon
Tucker,
stuff, but you don't seem like a spy to me. I'm being told we're out of time. Gentlemen, thank you both. Whoa.